Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com. In today's podcast, I wanted to discuss compensation again, as there's a bank, HSBC, that's going to be doubling the bonuses for some of its junior investment bankers and traders, and this is according to Bloomberg. And HSBC is increasing bonuses because they had decreased it in the past, their bonus pool. And HSBC said that they have to keep pay competitive across the board. And then the competition in the space is real. And so this is in the face of other banks increasing their pay as well, because JP Morgan reportedly increased their starting pay from 100,000 to 110,000. And then after that, they increased pay even more. Citigroup also increased their pay, and a lot of other companies did as well. Evercore is another one where it's the junior bankers are making up to 120,000 per year. The second year bankers are making 130,000, and third year bankers are making 140,000. And so in the middle of the year, or I guess HSBC is doubling their bonuses from the prior year. And we're seeing this not only in the big four accounting firms, but obviously in the banks now, or it's been in the banks for a little bit. And as the banks have good earnings, they're increasing the bonuses too. And we're seeing this across the board as I think we have inflation, but I also think people see that inflation and the potential impacts on the economy and the things that central banks around the world are going to do to address that, and that potential for that to slow down the economy as well. So I think people are trying to strike while the iron is hot, while interest rates are low, while deals are getting done, because an investment bank, they make a substantial amount of money off of that. They make money off of when the market is good. So I think they're trying to keep the people and make as much money as fast as possible, and then they'll figure out the rest later on. But I think also they're not increasing wages as fast as inflation is moving. So I think that's another benefit. But I think people are leaving their jobs as well. You have the Great Resignation. So you have all these firms, including the big four accounting firms, that are having to fight all these moving pieces in the global economy and remain competitive. And again, I feel this is in the face of the Great Resignation. So you have less employees and you're willing to pay them more to go after the greater revenue out there, because if you have more deals occurring, but you have fewer staff, then you're going to pay as much as you need to keep your existing people so that you're able to bid on that revenue on those new accounts. And the same is for the big four accounting firms. You're seeing it there as well. And even mid-tier, I've been seeing some job postings on LinkedIn that you get a sign-on bonus if you sign by the end of February. And they put that in the title of the job description because people are desperate. There's so much work. The economy, even though it doesn't look good, if you look at the market, we're at the tail end of a really good period. So there's still deals getting done. There's still work to be won. There's a lot of also government money. So there's a lot of consulting to be done. And people want to keep their employees, at least for now, and they want to pay them well, or they're even willing to pay people joining way above what they would have been in the past. Here you have people just starting, making over $100,000. Now you can't do that in the big four accounting firms in most cases unless you have your law degree. But it's just amazing what's happening in the market. I think people need to take advantage of this. As I said before, people need to negotiate their starting salary if they can, if they have experience. But even if you can't, you should hopefully be getting around a 10% increase passed on a 10% increase from past new hires, because that's really what the market is bearing right now. And it's hard to find good people. And I can speak to that based on my teams. You have your junior people and they don't even want to work as many hours as they used to anymore. They're not worried about how many hours they log. It's just it's hard to find talent. It's hard to keep talent. It's hard to get people motivated. So I think that's being reflected in wages. And I think that's what hopefully people are taking advantage of this. But I think also the big four accounting firms and other companies, I think they need to be more judicious with how they send this money out. They should send it out to their best employees versus just trying to retain everybody. Because I think if you try and a lot of time you're going to end up you're going to end up retaining a lot of the people you don't want to retain. You have to make sure that you keep motivating your best employees, the ones that are meeting the metrics. And that's probably less important in the big four accounting firms because not everybody actually contributes to a client deliverable. It's a lot of work papers where people don't actually see the end result. It's just a few people reviewing it, so it's hard to tell sometimes. But for the people, the one thing the big four accounting firms do care about, which are metrics like utilization, I think you have to reward those people that are still meeting the utilization metrics. I think it's a lot fewer than it used to be. You used to get in pretty big trouble for not meeting your utilization metrics, and I think that's less common nowadays because of COVID, working from home, the great resignation, the crazy job market. So I hope the big four accounting firms are taking that into consideration. I know they aren't for the most part, just based on what I've seen as far as the number of people getting these raises. But I think that just speaks to the job market and how many people have left the job market. But that's the podcast for today. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast to get future updates and check out the show notes for useful links. Thanks for listening.